Hey everybody, 8-Bit Josh here, and welcome back to Planet Zoo and Wildlife World, which is the official name of our zoo, in case maybe you didn't get that from the super simple teaser that we had, I guess, in the last video. But yeah, so Wildlife World is the name of our zoo, and we're starting off with another little time lapse. It's not very long, it's a little shorter than the last one. This one's just under 5 minutes, so if you do want to skip ahead to the real-time gameplay, you can do that as well. But yeah, so here we're still in our North American area of our zoo, which is called Frontier Falls, and we're working on a little like kind of cafe area, I guess. So it's just a chief beef. It's not like a functional, like inside, like the guests don't go inside the building. It's just a regular chief beef. But I wanted to give it sort of like a log cabin kind of look to it, because I felt it kind of went with the North American theme. You know, we're going with lots, sort of like a woodsy, I guess, vibe with our North American area. You know, you can see like we have lots of like firs in the background, like those trees, and just lots and lots of like rocks, and going really heavy with like the thick foliage. And I kind of felt like the sort of log cabin look, it kind of went with the theme, I guess. And then it was kind of tricky because you can see we have a staff path right here, and so I had to figure out like, okay, how am I going to build this and not move our staff path, because we have a power generator, or not a power generator, but a water filter system back there that you can see, and I didn't want to move that because that's filtering the water for our grizzly habitat. So I kind of came up with like this little tunnel idea, and like the cafe, I guess, is sort of on like this rocky cliff that's overlooking our lake, which the lake is going to be the center of our zoo. So all of our different themed areas are going to kind of circle around the lake. So yeah, we're working on like the kind of like little rocky area, and it still needs a little bit of work. I'm not entirely happy with the result, which you'll see when we get into the real-time gameplay. I don't know, I think the rocks just kind of need moved around a little bit and probably just adjusted, because it kind of the point I was going for is like sort of like a rocky, I don't know, like cliff kind of jetting out over the lake a little bit. And I don't know, you'll see it in the real-time gameplay. But yeah, so a lot of this time was just spent on working on the rocks around and like underneath the cafe. And then eventually we get to the roof, and I actually was kind of torn on the roof because I was like, well, do I want to make like a custom one? And I was, I couldn't really decide, so I just went with, the pre-made roof pieces. And the red clay actually I think fits pretty well. It's kind of has that, it still has like a rustic kind of charm to it, I guess. And maybe that's just because we were using like the log building materials as for the building, but I don't know, I think it worked out. I don't know, you guys can let me know, but yeah, I think it looks pretty good. And then so like another thing I wanted to talk about is, do we want to have a lore with our zoo? Like, do we want to have a backstory with it? And kind of my thought was like, maybe the zoo, maybe this is like the old part of the zoo, like our North American area, and it's been around for a while, and it had another owner, and he sold it to somebody else. So I have a little teaser coming. Will probably be maybe in the next video, not this video, but yeah, that pretty much does it for the time lapse. So maybe we'll talk about that more in the real-time gameplay. But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into that. Okay, and here we are with our completed cafe, and so you can kind of see what we what I eventually kind of did, a lot of the footage I did in between the time lapse and what you're seeing now, I kind of had to scrap, but I figured, you know, I just still make sure I show you guys how it turned out, and I think it looks pretty good. I like these new little like picnic tables. People come here to rest. They're like sort of iron looking with like, yeah, really cool design. I don't know where a vendor is. I guess they're probably taking a break. Let's hire a new vendor. I feel like, there you go. Chief Beef back in business, so people will start coming up here and getting some burgers, getting their grub on. But yeah, so this is it. This is our little cafe area, and I love this little bear statue made out of like carved log pieces. But this is pretty much it, and this is the sort of cliff area that I was talking about, how I was not super satisfied with it. I think I might want to change it up a little bit. I'm not quite sure how I want to do that just yet. And then this is like the little area. So this is the water filter I was talking about. And this is filtering our grizzly bear habitat. And so I just decided to kind of theme this back here as well. Mostly just, you know, for our sake, because obviously the guests aren't going to see this, but I was like, hey, let's make it like a little shed almost. And then, you know, we got some trees, we got some, you know, maybe some dead trees back here that kind of maybe were like in the water a little bit. And I don't know, I thought it looked pretty cool. And then, so some updates, I actually had a live stream in between the time lapse that you just watched and what we're looking at now. So the biggest change, well, there are two big changes really. The first big change is, if you recall in the last episode, we actually had our grizzly bear habitat. It was actually part of the river. So the river here actually came around this bend and came under here and then met up into the lake. And then the barrier for the grizzly bear habitat went out here a little bit further. And it seemed to be causing problems with, I think, mostly the gate, because the gate was over here and it was really small and it was kind of underneath the path. And for some reason our grizzly bears kept getting boxed up. And so I moved that, and that seemed to be better. And then just moved the river out along this way. And then the other problem, which is still sort of an issue as far as our guests are concerned, but you can see they stand here and they want to watch the grizzly bears. What was happening though is our grizzly bears were getting super stressed out. So they have like their social rating here and stress. Our Timberwolf is about to have offspring. Nice. We actually had a cub in our live stream and ended up having to release it to the wild because it was a male and he started fighting with his dad. But yeah, so every time our grizzly bears were out here, they were getting super stressed out because of all the people. So I created this one-way window here and then put up a rock wall right here, which seems to have helped. And people are still dumb. I don't know if this is a bug or what's going on, but people will stand and just stare at walls like they can see through them and see the animals, which is like, it looks stupid, but honestly, as long as our bears are not stressed out, then that's okay with me. You know, hopefully it gets fixed, but if it doesn't, then that'll be fine. And then our other big addition is our wolf habitat. And our wolf actually just had a cub, which is perfect timing for this recording, right? There he is. They had 2 cubs. Yay! Our last wolf family only had 1 cub. We have 2 cubs now. Look how cute. Look at him. He's so cute. Oh my god, I can't take it. But yeah, like, oh my gosh, I can't take how cute the baby animals are in this game. It's just... I love it. I love how they interact with the food enrichment items. But yeah, so this is our timber wolf habitat, and I created this little kind of rock bridge, and it took forever. Like, the wolves were not climbing on it, and I was like, maybe I just built it wrong. And then our last cub actually started climbing up here, and like, he loved it. He would run around and back and forth, and then finally the adults did as well. So it's good to know that they will actually kind of climb up the little rock bridge. And then, so you notice we have this little building here. It says Wolf Den. So this is their shelter. And from the guest point of view, so we decided to make the inside look sort of like a cave. So like, you're at the guest, you walk in, and you can see inside the wolf shelter. And you can donate if you want. You can look at and listen to the education board. We also have a couple education boards here that talk about climate and environments. And yeah, I think it turned out pretty cool. And then it has just a little bit of lighting intended to make it feel sort of like a dark, just like a dark cave, really. And I think that turned out pretty well too. I think it's looking pretty good. I'm really happy with how it turned out. There are no guests in here because the wolves are not. When the wolves come in here to sleep, the guests will walk around here and they'll watch them. But it's pretty cool because you have this one-way glass. Let's actually make it daytime again. Whew. But you have this one-way glass, so the animals can't see, really. I mean, you can see a little bit through it, but as the guest, you can see right through there. So, oh, here comes a wolf now. He's gonna come hang out. We also, one of the male that we adopted, which that's the female, he was adopted with some injuries. Hold on, what is the camera doing? What are you doing, camera? Stop it. And he has these like scars across his face, which is like sad, but also kind of badass at the same time. So I named him Scar. So this is Scar. He's the dad. He's a little beat up, but you know, he's being taken well care of here. What is this? One of our antelopes died of old age, hopefully. Oh yeah, died of old age. And I had somebody in the stream ask, like, you're in sandbox mode, why don't you just turn animal death off? And I was like, well, because I still want the animals to like live their full life and everything, you know? Like I'm just playing sandbox for the creative aspect of it and being able to just build our zoo however we want to build it. But yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much it. And I think, you know, there's not really going to be a lot more to our North American area just because there aren't a lot of North American animals in the game. There are a couple other, like, there's some like bugs and an iguana, I think, left. But as far as animals, we have all of the animals in the zoo. So that's pretty much going to do it. We're probably, the next area will be like our Asian area, which will probably come off this way. And then we're gonna save the African area for like the back of the zoo back here, because it will probably be the biggest, because we're gonna have like, you know, there's a lot of African animals that are able to share habitats. So we'll probably use like the safari ride where the guests actually ride the Jeep through the habitat, and it'll be pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Hope you guys have liked the new additions that we made, and hopefully you guys are excited about the future of our zoo. And yeah, so hopefully by the next video, I should have a bit of a teaser about what I was talking about, the time lapse, about the zoo's new owner. He'll be around shortly. If you watch the beta at all, you may recognize his name. But yeah, so that's gonna do it. So be sure to leave your comments, suggestions, and feedback down below. I am 8-Bit Josh, and thanks for watching. See ya.